Hey y'all, Peter Bros Golf Show back at it again. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
All right, y'all, we got an action-packed show for y'all today. A lot of stuff happened in the world of golf this past week, and then that
hmm
kind of set the stage for the Players Championship to have it all by itself, as the LPGA is going to be off, DP World Tour is off, and I don't think that the Champions Tour will run a tournament this week against the players. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening this week. Let's just go ahead and get into the lead story with the Arnold Palmer Invitational and Marcus's background sound there.
Just trying to post a
uh,
live link. Just trying
I
to post a
got you.
live link, sir. I'm
I
sorry.
thank you. Arnold Palmer Invitational. So as soon as Russell Henley won the thing, it was forgotten. I mean, I had to when I was looking for stories about Russell Henley today, I had to go to the second page of the PGA Tour app already to get info on it. Um, Clearly, the PGA Tour clamoring for new stars, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But what you think about the Arnold Palmer Invitational and Russell Henley? When he wins, it's never a surprise, but it's never flashy either. Really solid player. When he gets the irons going, can be really good and be on it that week. But what you think about it?
Yeah, I thought again, the PGA is doing what they're supposed to be doing now. They've gotten all the critiques. So I feel like a lot of the coverage has been good. You know what's funny? I saw a little clip on the TikTok. It was unfortunate because I felt like it was just from like a hater standpoint,
Okay.
really just way too critical because okay, it's live golf. Everything is not going to be able to be put in live time. So, like, unfortunately, Colin Morikawa hit his layup on
Uh-huh.
16. Russell Henley had already was greenside in two already. Bro, it's not. We're not going to be able to broadcast every shot. It just so happened to be the wedge, the eagle chip that he hit in. It was not televised originally, and we cut in and to see it just rolling in and hit the flag and drop. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see everything. The
No.
people still have to pay bills. The commercials still have to run, and who's expecting Henley, to just hold out like that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We expect
Right.
good things, but we don't always expect people to hold out and make these spectacular shots and stuff like that. So it just was from a weird standpoint, and I didn't really like that. So I just thought I would
I mean, it's first
inject that
world.
into my little commentary. Exactly, first world
It's
problems.
first world problems, and I mean, it's like people forget that we had once upon a time had a TV where sports events were on tape delay, so you didn't even
Right,
see it until hours later. So we're talking about one missed shot. They come back and replay it. It's not like you've missed anything. So the whole thing
exactly.
about always being present, something always going on, it gets ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
When the PGA Tour has actually shown some willingness to listen to the feedback and improve upon the product, god dang, I mean they're not going to get it right like you said 100% of the time. So give them some slack. So I agree with that rant
yeah, but
on
yeah, it was just funny to me. I didn't mean to go into my usual random land, but it was kind of connected. But yeah,
yeah.
Russell did what he was supposed to do. He didn't shoot a crazy good number. He shot under par. Colin Morikawa came back to the field. Didn't really have his best stuff.
Yeah.
Just unfortunate for Morikawa. Michael
Well,
Kim said it on best on Twitter. Go ahead,
no, go ahead. I want to hear Michael Kim because I love Michael Kim.
Mike. Well, Michael Kim was speaking on his game, him trending upwards, and him not feeling like so like high and in the clouds for his
Right.
performance for that fourth place. Did you see that? Because he
Yeah,
was
I
like,
saw that where he said he didn't want to be feeling overconfident. He wants to
Right.
still, um, you
It's
know, like
expected now.
correct. And he's kind of hit that point where like a comfort zone, which I was telling somebody that even my little amateur game, I said, I never want to feel that comfortable. Like, I feel like I always want to play scared because that keeps my
Yeah.
brain, my attention on my game.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it in the context of having a good range session before a round, where it feels like okay, you're super relaxed and you're hitting all the shots, the driver's looking good, and then you get out on the course and that doesn't translate. And I attribute that
Mm,
to in that moment it feeling oh, I felt good on the range. It's gonna come right over. Which I don't even I take as little time on the range, if any, at this point. Stroke putts, chips, but full shots, I'm not a huge fan of. I rather just use like the warm
right.
up stick and just kind of see what the results are gonna be. I may hit a couple drivers just to see, but again, I like to play scared. So I think I kind of attribute I related to what Michael Kim said for sure.
Yeah. But he ended up saying ultimately he was like, uh, he was great. He was rooting for Russ, but also sad for Colin Morikawa. But he feels like this is going to be like that catapult to get him to something
Yeah.
like better as far as the majors go and as far as the players go. So that's what I'm hoping for Colin. I hope he takes this as a as a grain of salt and gets more inspired. I mean, again, it's just the middle of March, so he's got plenty of time to still produce a great season and possibly have a Player of the Year type season. So that's
Yeah.
really all I had to say about the
Well,
AP. I thought
I
overall it was a good product, though.
I do want to say just the Colin Morikawa's iron game has fully returned to him. He's playing, of course, the newest and latest and greatest tailor-made stuff, the QI 35 driver, which we'll talk
Yeah,
about a couple of times here. But also with Colin, something that we've been talking about, final rounds, players not being aggressive enough and getting under par. So he shot even par. Great up and down on 18 to even put the pressure on Russell Henley to make his putt. Um,
yeah,
Colin shoved it down that hill pretty damn far, which they were saying they were looking crispy and that the greens were barely hanging on by the end of the week. But you got to go score. You got to get a shoot of something under par, which Russell
yeah,
Henley just went two under par, but even doesn't work. I mean, you got to go shoot something on the final
yeah.
round to secure tournaments in today's day and age because somebody's going to do it. So it's outlasting, the rest of the field for 4 full days. But
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, yeah, overall good tournament, especially leading into the players. But I again felt pretty ho hum. PGA Tour quickly shifted their coverage and attention to honestly, um, the players and also some younger stars that are up and coming in the game, which is where I want to shift our conversation on the other side of things. So I actually was late joining the Arnold Palmer Invitational because I was watching the Puerto Rico Open. That one was actually pretty intriguing to me. Couple of Stanford products, out there. We've seen Karl Vilips come into the news cycle here as of late. Able to get his PGA Tour card with like 10 Corn Ferry starts last year. Recently named as the first ambassador for Tiger's Sunday Red brand, which I was kind of like at the time, like, okay, cool. I mean, the kids looks good. Stanford product. Clearly Tiger's familiar with him. But the kid's got game. And I'm in my
Hmm.
head after seeing him win in Puerto Rico, I'm thinking, okay, does Tiger have this eye for talent that he sees something in this kid that's next level that he would consider making him the first signee to the brand? And are we going to see bigger things from Carl going forward? Looks like he has all the game. Reminds me of like Kurt Kitayama to a certain degree, in terms of the builds, and not quite as big on
Mm,
the lower body, but a strong kind of stout kid. And also Kieron Van Wyck, amateur, College of Charleston guy from South Carolina, which I have a picture of him up on my slides. Um, but very interesting youth movement that the PGA Tour was putting Karl Vilips up on their kind of features and had an article about him before they had an article up about Russell Henley. So, what do you think about this youth movement, man? They're really kind of hedging on that and kind of skipping the older generation at this point.
I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily put it that way. I think it's more so what we've spoken on before, which is they're looking for new stars. So whether that be somebody that's just emerged as somebody that's game is trending the right way or finally made it onto the tour and whatnot, I think that's what they're going for. So, I mean, it just so happens that Carl Phillips is, fresh out of college. I mean, his fourth pro tour, I mean, his fourth PGA Tour start, in the last year or so. So I definitely think they're gravitating towards new stars because they're looking for names that we can, gravitate towards. They're looking for
Yeah.
new names that we can put on posters and put in commercials, not just Rory, not just Scotty, not just, our, Ricky, all the older guys that are, fading fast. I mean, hopefully they're not fading fast. Hopefully they're just in a little blip in the system and they're going to come back and have a good little run in their late 30s, early 40s. I don't want to put that on them because I'm not
You're
going
not
to be
you're not
like
a
that. I mean,
you're not a ageist. I get it.
right. Right. I mean, shit, I'm 37, so I can't sit here and be yo,
Put him out the
Ricky's
pasture and
38. You know what I'm saying? Ricky's 38. It's past his prime. I don't want to say that. I don't even feel like I'm in my prime yet as far as living goes. So, yeah, I guess in a roundabout way, I'm saying that alongside what you're saying is I think they're going younger, but not necessarily it's all on young people. I just think they're looking for new stars.
that's fair. Again, I just saw the slant in the coverage and the socials really
Yeah,
favor Carl, and that could have been just because I followed him and it changed my algorithm for whatever reason. But again, he was just up on the socials. Saw TaylorMade really pouring out the love for him, and that was it was a it's a it seems again TaylorMade is all about the marketing.
yeah,
Quick on the draw with a lot of that stuff. Had a post up immediately after putting dollars around the QI 35 driver, which we'll circle back to that. I have some questions and concerns about the QI 35, based on Rory and just we haven't seen tailor-made drivers win as prolifically. We haven't seen this generation of drivers this year win, but a handful of. I think we're now on tournament number two so far, as of Carl winning his. So we have some questionable performance with the QI 35. So yeah, let's get into the slideshow. The what I was mentioning with the the driver and Rory. So he started the tournament with the QI 35 in the bag. Thank God for TaylorMade really putting the specs out there. I found this very interesting. Again, we've been kind of yearning for more detailed club information these days. And so
right,
to be able to see it at this level, I enjoy it. I mean, we're not, a lot of times you're going to see brand specific stuff rather than later on. We have a guy that went on the DP World Tour, which he's all over the place and a club free agent. But again, here we started the tournament. He had the all the woods QI 35 from the driver down to the 5 wood in the bag, and then after the third round, kind of ho hum performance, went back to his QI 10 stuff from last year. So he has it at 9 degrees, but I'm gonna down just a little bit. Um, has the one towards the lower, so that's knocking it down kind of it's a half a degree, half like 8.5 with that first click or 0.25 degrees down. Um, do you know what this FCT sleeve is? I didn't get a chance to check that out.
I think it's Farrell something something. I think that has to do with basically what you were saying, the Hazel adjustment and how he has it set. Like that's the limit. It's 1.5 degrees either way. So like it
Okay.
could go up to a 10.5 or it could go down to like a 7.75 or something like that, one way or the other, as far as I remember with TaylorMade drivers. It's not like a ping where you can go 2 degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
Um I think from what I remember when they built his driver back when like TaylorMade was doing like TaylorMade truck tours and building clubs like right there on the spot. I think he's very unique. He plays like a 9.25 driver head, but they call it 9 degrees. Remember, folks, these people play very specific things. They do not get the same things we get. So when I say they play a 9.25 head, I mean that. And like Scotty Scheffler plays like a 8.25 head, and he has the hosel settings to where it's 9 degrees or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Roy's the same way. He plays like a 9.25 degree head on a 9 degree setting with the one lower to make it like an 8.25 completely in the when it's in the shaft with the grip on there and it's playable. It's the
Yeah.
wildest thing, but that's how they get
I
their
mean, it's
specific numbers and that's how they get their launch. And
yeah.
if I'm a pro playing for money, I get it. I want
Yeah,
to
you're gonna
be
you're gonna
as
do everything
maximized
you
as
can.
possible.
Yeah, everything you
Correct.
can. The weighting, interesting. So 3 grams in the front, 13 grams in the back. So really heavy out the back of the driver. Um,
Right.
we talked about that, trying to reduce as much spin as possible, right?
Yeah, and get the launch up so that way he can swing zeroed or feel like he can really with the three gams in the head, he can definitely still play his little low trap draw and stuff that he's been practicing and stuff like that. He doesn't always launch it out of the same window now. I feel like that's one thing that he has leveled up on is his trajectory off the driver. It's not just a high towering draw every time. He plays the fade. He plays the low squeeze draw out there now. I think he's really. I don't know how many times I can say this, and I don't want to be repetitive, but I don't think there's anybody that drives the golf ball like Rory drives the golf ball. And I don't think
Yeah.
anybody will top what he does.
No,
To
and
be fair,
I think he's not seeing what he's wanted out of this club, which is why he went back to the QI10. Last year was probably one of his best driving years,
yeah,
all around, and I think he's missing that this year early on. Now I know he won already. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
clearly something is not fitting his eye with his driver. It'll be interesting again to see from the top tailor-made guys, Scotty, Colin, who can get a win with this driver in the bag first. Um,
yeah.
so you mentioned this last week. The shaft is the Ventus Black Velocore Plus 6X, which is slightly different from the one we're going to review with Carl here, which is also a Ventus, but that Velocore seems to be different, which you mentioned that last week when we were going through a what's in the bag.
Hmm.
Um, it's length 45.58, just a little bit short of the maximum since we're maxing out at 46 inches. And then tipping. Explain to the people um, what tipping does and kind of the concept around that.
Tipping a driver, tipping a shaft in general, really just adds stiffness to the stiffness that you have it at. So, like, if for instance, if you were playing a stiff shaft and you tipped it an inch, it'd be a little bit firmer than a stiff, but wouldn't be quite a stiff plus or an extra stiff. So it's really just another way for you to kind of dial in your accuracy and really kind of just really zone in on your message and your area of landing spots for your iron or whatever you may do with your tipping. Because you can do this on irons, you can do this on regular metal shafts, not just graphite shafts for woods and things like that. So I think it's just another way for you to dial in and be as accurate as possible.
Yep.
Me personally, I don't feel like I have the swing speed, nor do I want the swing speed to be like a true extra stiff player. So that's kind of why I gravitate towards the stiff plus with the, with the stiff with an inch tipped. And that's why I did that on my driver, my fairway, my hybrid. Um, I play not I wouldn't say flimsy stiff shafts. I would say they're pretty flexible at the bottom to
Yeah.
where my kick point is a little bit lower to where I'm getting the ball in the air. And I don't really feel like I have to struggle to get the ball in the air. As
Right.
long
You
as
don't
I'm
have to.
hitting the ball solid, yeah,
You don't always have to work for it. And
correct.
yeah. If you were tipped out, then you could have some off days, or let's say you aren't your best physically, that you may struggle with a lot of blocks. Not being able to get the face closed or square at impact. I can see that quite a bit if
Yeah,
you aren't on your stuff. Grip, golf pride standard stuff, and then the two wraps underneath the grip. Again, the more information, the better. I've always been um intrigued, but also scared with going more than a single wrap or going to a mid-size grip.
why?
Just I don't know. I just don't want to waste the grip. I don't know. I like feel, and so I like a single
They
wrap.
save grips.
I get it. I'm just weird. I've never felt the need. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to take the hands out of it, but I also like the feel of just club and single layer of tape and then the grip. So that's just me, but
Yeah,
I get it. Like I said, I like getting more info about the players, and TaylorMade's definitely hooking it up. But like I said,
yeah,
I'm very curious how this driver performs this year. Doesn't seem to be in all the staff guys' bags. We know we can be deceived by the head covers,
head
especially if
cover.
we aren't watching live. So we'll keep an eye on this one, on how this progresses throughout the year. If Rory's able to get it dialed in and get it working, um, in his favor. Let's
Yeah.
slide on.
Another thing, just real quick about
Yeah,
the about wraps. Um, if you if you paid attention, Bubba Watson had 12 wraps underneath his grips.
crazy.
And so like now it's crazy is it's insane. Now all he really had to do was get a mid-size grip or a jumbo
Sure.
grip or something like that. But he has a standard grip with 12 wraps underneath it. Scotty Scheffler has 6 wraps underneath his grips. So it's really just dependent upon what wraps you get too. There's double-sided tape. Then there's wrapping tape that goes on the shaft. There are two different thicknesses to the shaft wraps that they use. Me
Yeah.
personally, I use two wraps. I use two thick tapes. I don't use one of the thick tapes and then the wrap, the two-sided
Go
wrap.
around it. Yeah.
Correct. And that has felt the best to me. I've gone 3 wraps, 1 regular thick tape, 2 light tapes. I've done 4 tapes. I've done full on mid-size. So as you can tell, I am King Tinkerer, and
Clearly.
I've found
Yeah.
a method to the madness. I am at 2 thick tapes wraps underneath my standard grips, and we are living right now.
You you Wyndham Clark, and who did else did I say you took the title from Wyndham Clark this week? Somebody else that's
Oh, was it?
I
It wasn't Daniel Berger because Daniel Berger was playing some 11-year.
yeah, he just
Mm,
had one switch. I can't remember who it was, but y'all need to join a support group of all the changes,
I need you to
and
relax, sir.
the amount of putters that you go through as
Hey,
well.
man, quit being a hater.
Okay, that was deep in the and we share too much stuff on Instagram because I'm like several scrolls in and I can't even find it. So
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
trying to find it. Dang. Okay.
let's get to Karl Vilips. Keep it moving.
Yep.
So again, TaylorMade staffer, so we get a little bit more information on his driver. They didn't specify which particular head. Again, as you kind of already mentioned for Rory, probably paying one of these kind of really niche custom heads for him in the QI 35. Karl playing the QI 35 low spin version of it, set at
Mm-hmm.
9 degrees. Again, same sleeve setting, one towards the lower, which also, just as a heads up, on the that keeps the hands lower as well, so you don't necessarily have to stand as upright. With Rory
Yeah.
not necessarily being the tallest guy, same thing with Karl. So I also 5'7" me, I tend to have my club set on that lower setting as well. Just so I'm have longer arms. I'm not the tallest in the world, so I like the club to sit a certain way. So I turn it over to the lower as well. Again, different weighting. He's added a couple more. Again, because his setup could be different with this driver head. He's got 5 grams in the toe, 3 grams in the heel, and 8 grams in the back. More of a low um, cut type player, a little bit lower trajectory than Rory. Just gets it out there left to right. So interesting setup, and then into the shaft again. The Ventus coming with different variations. Ventus TR Blue 6X, 6TX. So not quite as hard a swinger as Rory, which I don't think most people are. What do you think about the setup so far?
Yeah, I think I'm actually kind of tripped out about the weighting the weights because when you're playing something low spin, that's already giving you more ball speed across the face because it's a more forgiving head. So for him to be playing more weight, well, I don't know. If he has 5 grams on the toe and less on the heel, I guess he might be holding. He's trying to hold the face open more.
Yeah, yeah, he wants the face more open. But I don't know. I'd say I wouldn't say necessarily that a low spin version is more forgiving. I'd say it's actually less. Anytime I've had a low spinning, I'm high spin, but I've seen players try to play a low spin driver and they don't have
Hmm.
the ball speed to keep it up, and the
Mm,
shit just falls out of the sky. So
mm,
I wouldn't say the low spin version is necessarily more forgiving. But yeah, the weighting is definitely unique to him, right?
definitely.
Um, and then 45 and a half link shaft. I do want to say this for most amateurs. I think most of us, and I've experienced this here as of recently. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I've been struggling with my driver. For some reason, I have been towing it a lot and couldn't figure out why. I just went lower on the grip this last week and had no problems. I would say most of us amateurs would really benefit from shortening your grip, maybe do just go taking it to a professional, cutting it, or at the very least, if you're not going to cut it, grip down, halfway down your grip or
Yeah,
something. You'll get more control. You'll have more center face strikes, and I got my distance back. So striking it much better, getting my distance. I'm not used to being short. I'm used to being one of the longer guys in my group. So, like I said, most amateurs would benefit from going a little bit shorter on the shaft, probably closer to
yeah,
45 inches.
definitely. I mean, it just gets you to feel more aware of where the head is at. I mean, everybody can't be Justin Thomas and have a 46-inch driver and hit it better. Like that
Right.
was an insane week that he had in the Bahamas.
Yeah. And a few years ago, before they changed the regulation, when Phil was rolling out the 47-inch shaft.
Yeah,
So
bro, wildin'.
yeah. So Karl Vilips, I'm looking forward to seeing the youth movement. I'll pull up one more slide here on from the Puerto Rico Open. That was Kieron Van Wyck, again, young guy, South African born, used to be a elite soccer player, converted into golf as a youngster, and then committed to College of Charleston, sight unseen. Has a South African coach that is also at College of Charleston, but clearly in his first professional event to finish in fourth, solo fourth, really performed. Um, Pretty tough conditions on Sunday, a lot of wind. Anytime you play on a kind of waterside course and you're on the island of Puerto Rico, there's going to be wind. Um,
Yeah.
looked a little bit nervy on the back nine, but overall, the kid has game. I think we're going to see some really good things from him. Um, they're just getting much better faster these days.
Right.
Looked the part. Looked like a pro. Did you get to catch any of his coverage that he was on?
Yeah. 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 I've watched a lot of the final day. And I watched the replay of the third round, but I watched a lot of his swings and it looked really polished. It looked really powerful. I mean, he was definitely a taller guy. It looked like, at least on the coverage, it looked like he was taller.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. He had a really interesting quality. I mean, a lot of the shots that I saw him hit on the back nine in those windy conditions, he was hitting the ball so pure, he was hitting it through the wind. That's an interesting attribute to have. Now, sometimes it can screw you like it was doing him because when you're expecting the ball to get hit or expect it to be doing a certain thing or going a certain distance, then all of a sudden you're flying the green and you're having to scramble to get up and down. It's not necessarily the greatest feeling, but
Right.
at the same time, it's bittersweet because it's like, dang man, I pured that. Like I hit that straight through everything. So yeah, it's an interesting aspect for him. But I think after this week, I don't know how much longer he'll be in the amateur ranks. I don't know how much longer he'll be playing college golf if
Yeah,
he can compete like that.
he's a senior, so he's almost at the end of his college career.
Yeah,
I always get curious, kind of like it's a kid named from Alabama, Nick, who won the American Express last year. Like, do you turn
Dunlap.
pro? Yeah, Nick Dunlap, and then do you turn pro? Like before you sign off, you're like, okay, I want to accept this fourth place winnings, even though the Puerto Rico Open was a alternate event. I think the winning purse was like 720,000 or 750, so it's not your usual $1 million purse, but
Still a
I mean
house.
you're going to take home, a couple 100,000 for a fourth place finish. So,
Yeah,
I always get curious, like, does this entice them, especially where he's at in his career? Or does he just say, hey, my future is going to be bright? This is not this is not going to be some flash in the pan thing. I'm going to have a chance to
yeah,
have a long career. He probably is looking at it like that. So I'm looking forward to him, traversing through the Corn Ferry Tour this coming year, after
yeah.
he finishes his college career and then tears it up. I mean, we're starting to see a bit of a youth movement out of South Africa. We saw Dylan Nadu last week that we talked about extensively. So South Africa coming with some golfers
Yeah,
of color. I'm proud of what they're doing over there.
definitely. I mean, I don't even know if he really had to see the College of Charleston because he knew what he was going for in the first place. Now it's to play some good South Carolina golf, probably make the trip up to North Carolina and play Pinehurst since it's close to the border anyways. Probably a 3 or 4 hour drive. Shout out, man, I wish I remembered that guy's name. Chat, me and Rob went to Myrtle Beach. We got paired up with this guy. He was probably sloshed off of 3 Miller Lights, and he kept emphasizing that he was going to get us on at Pinehurst, not number two, but if we wanted to go to play number six or number eight, he could get us on and help us out with that. That's what my man Kieron Van Wick is finna do.
You and these right. I don't remember half these stories. I just be letting them go
How do
off
you
of
not
media.
remember that story?
I don't remember that dude. I mean, it was
I'll
our
tell you
first.
about it, man.
That was like our first Yeah, official golf trip.
That
Way
was.
back in 2013. Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. Got
We
rained
had
out
just
the
got
last
some
time.
nice clubs.
Yep. Stepping our game up. So that was Kieron Van Wyck. Let's mention the LPGA and then we'll talk DP World Tour here. Um, Really quick on the LPGA, it was a blowout. I mean, it was not very
Yeah. It
interesting.
wasn't close.
I took myself to sleep. It wasn't worth staying up for. Rio Takeda ended up winning by 6 strokes over Minji Lee. Um, had control of the final round from the jump. Shot 8 under,
Yeah.
64 on Sunday. So shout out to her. Dominating win. Not quite as interesting a course as we've seen. I preferred, where they played the HSBC in Singapore in terms of,
Yeah.
the layout of the course. So this one it's still a good tournament, but this week was not that great in terms of a product. So shout out to Rio Takeda for getting her second professional win on the LPGA Tour. That's it for me on that tournament. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I think the conditions were a little bit tricky. A lot more wind than we had been seeing over there. And then Minji Lee, she chipped in twice, shouted out her brother with the
With
little
the
call
chef?
signal and whatnot. Um, she said, "Call me" or whatever. I don't know what they do. I don't know what these young kids be doing. But it really should have been. But if she wouldn't have chipped in two holes in a row, it really would have been her winning by 9. If we being honest, if we keeping it a
Yeah.
buck. So that's really all I had to say. LPGA. I mean, Gino Titicool and Ronnie Yin playing again. I mean, they just don't miss weeks, bro. They got
No.
3 weeks off. They got 3 weeks off, and then they got a nice little stretch of golf. Remember, they got the Ford. Nelly will be back, and they go right into the match play in Vegas, and then I think they go right into their first major of the Chevron, which is in Houston. So, yeah, a lot of good women's golf coming in after their little 3 week break, coming back stateside. So yeah, we'll look forward to getting back into action and seeing them. Until the meantime, I guess we'll catch up on some LET
Yeah, that's what I
and
was
a
gonna
lot
say.
more
They're
PGA
probably
stuff.
gonna we'll probably see Gino on the LET because she does
Yeah,
not put the clubs down at all.
she
Um,
don't.
Legitimately, I mean, she the week they were off before the Asian swing, she was winning over on the LET. So
She played in Saudi. Yep, easy stuff.
she's a killer. Um, DP World Tour. Went into a playoff. I ended up waking up with the daylight savings time screwed me up. I ended up waking up near the tail end of their last round, catching the playoff to see a 3-man playoff with Kreiswick, who won a couple weeks ago, Sean Norris, and then the ultimate winner, Callum Hill, which Callum is like it's got to be like the ultimate English name or whatever, because I think every
Yeah,
time I think of Callum Taryn, um, so, Hill ends up winning in the playoff, second hole of the playoff. Um, Looks like a nice, like chiseled, strong kid. Saw a story afterwards that he's hoping that this win propels him to his PGA Tour card. So he's already got his eyes set on the PGA Tour. Very
nice.
interesting. We've talked about this. The PGA Tour, through all the struggle and tumultuous times fighting against Live, the funnel was never going to dry up for them. It's been
Right.
it's been the mission and goal for a lot of folks, and there's going to be a couple of generations where that's still the goal. So the Live always had an uphill climb to get to the point where people were looking at them as the number one option. So this kid ends up winning. I do want to pull up his, not what's in the bag. We're not going to make this a formal what's in the bag, but he became a club free agent, and it just got me thinking about if players did not have to be associated with the brand, what would they choose? So, like, if today Rory didn't have a TaylorMade deal, what driver would he be pulling out? Would he be sticking with the tailor-made QI10 or 35, or would he go to ping? That always, I like when I see players who have gone free agency, because then you're just seeing what fits them best and what they think are the best clubs for them.
Yeah.
So let me pull this up. So this is the bag. You can't really see too much detail here. I'll get into the specs here. So from last year, he was a ping staffer. Again, went free agent. The only three clubs that he kept the same were the Ping G440 Max 3 and 5 woods. Found it interesting that he's playing the Max version of the clubs. Um, I think they're forgiving. I play the 425 Max. It doesn't look like a big head, but it does give you slightly more confidence down by the ball. It's definitely kind of squatty in terms of from top of the crown to the ground. It's small, but it gives you a little bit of width and face to play with. And then he kept his Titleist SM1060, which I guess he was playing, and which not I guess, but he was playing some ping wedges prior to that. So those are three clubs that were in his bag prior to the win. That's him. I'm assuming we'll see him on the PGA Tour at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He went from the Ping G430 Max 10K. Again, very interesting that he was playing the Max, and then went to the Titleist GT2.
Ah,
The
my golf
Ping,
spy rated it as the longest driver. GT
uh,
Series is the longest driver of 2025.
interesting. Ping G Blueprint S irons to the Titleist T100S. Again,
Yeah.
the stronger lofted of the T100s. So the man's getting a little extra distance with the distance player iron. Again, these are very interesting choices. I was playing the Ping S159 Gap and Sand Wedge, then just kind of converted to the Vokey SM10s. Really no surprise there. Top of the line wedges. Who would argue with that? And then moved from the Ping PLD Tyne Proto, and then moved to the Lab Golf Link 1, which I have both of these down here at the bottom of the screen. So, what do you think about this
I,
man's changes and updates?
I'm never, you know what? Well, I mean, I got too many putters to be a hater of putter changes, but I think like you got to I change my perspective on people using whatever putter they feel most comfortable with. Because if you look at Joe Bramlett from the Puerto Rico Open, he was using a broomstick. Um, Vilips was using a TaylorMade Tour Spider. And I think Kieron was using a blade. I don't know. But when you're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, you play what gets it in the hole the quickest. And I think that's one thing that's refreshing about this generation is they're using whatever they need to get the best out of the round or the best out of their game. And I think we've spoken on that again as well. But like to me, that's refreshing. Like the
Yeah.
ego is put to a little bit of the side. Now I feel like, as far as lofts go, they probably still feel some type of way like I'll never have my pitching wedge as 45 degrees. I'm never that weak. I've never been that weak of a ball striker. Mine's gonna be 47. I get it. You're a pro, whatever. Like Rory. Rory said his pitching wedge is like 40, 48 now because he's going 48, 54, 60 now, and took his 52
Oh,
out of
that's
the
right. Well,
bag, a
that
part
might
of the
just be
club
for
changes
this
and
week.
stuff.
This might be this for that week. Yeah, that was a weird setup. But
But I think
yeah,
it's because he mentioned because it's ball change. With that TP5, more spin, softer feel around the greens, he says he can play those in between shots a little bit easier now. That's what he said
yeah,
in the interview when they talked to him about finally making the switch over. But yeah, the center shafted putter is just trippy to me because I feel like when you're disciplined enough to be straight back, straight through, in theory, a center shafted putter and lab, zero torque putters are always going to be winners. But if you use any kind of an arc or any kind of like, artistry to the putting and stuff like that, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be everybody's cup of tea. That's just all
Yeah.
I'll say about that.
Yeah,
I think that's why.
it probably wouldn't work for me. I have a little bit of arc on my, I swing it a little bit
Yeah,
to the inside and then bring it back through. So lab probably isn't the best fit, but I also don't necessarily struggle with putting either. But I get it. I mean,
right.
it's not the easiest aspect of the game for most people, and that's where the money's made on the pro level.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I thought, like I said, I just thought it was interesting to see a guy who free agent. What do you put in the bag when you have a choice? Clearly, he's not going with your typical blades, not your typical woods. Um, looking for a little bit of help with
Yeah,
those
I
with those
mean,
woods.
the T100 is pretty much a blade. It's not the tip. It's not your Titleist MB, but that's the players club right there.
But
I mean,
yeah,
you'll
he's
see
asking for
that
a
the
little distance.
profiles. The profile is tiny though. The top line is thin. It's still going to be that same. The sweet spot is just a little bit bigger, but it's pretty much. I mean, it's on par with the Blueprint S. If
Yeah.
you ask me, it's about the same.
Yeah, from the look, absolutely. But with the S, he's getting a little more yardage. They're lofted a little bit lower. I want to say the 7 iron was pretty jacked in that setup. So, I feel like it's 32
Mm,
degrees. I could be wrong on that.
Possibly. I mean, they have T150s though that are 2 degrees stronger. Like,
Mm,
and you don't even have to get the S. So this might be this might be an older model, something like that. Just something he's gravitated towards, something that he likes. But the newest T series is T100, T150, then the thick boy T200, and then
yeah,
like the T350, which is the absolute game
it's like a
improvement, the
like a
AP3s or
it's a,
whatever.
it's a hammer.
Yeah.
Just to mention, just a transition. So he also plays the TP, not TP, Pro V1X, and so it seems like this week I'm seeing everybody like Rory's playing the TPX on the TaylorMade side, Vilips TPX. A lot of players are on the Titleist side playing the Pro V1X. You're not seeing a lot of people playing just like the regular Pro V1 or the TP5 anymore. They're
Rory
moving to the
switched to the TP5.
when he went TP5. He's no longer in the X.
He was with the X for the longest, then was out at Grove 23, Michael Jordan's joint, practicing, put the TP5 in. I was like, oh, this is spinning way better around the greens, and put
Mm,
it in the bag and played pretty well at Torrey Pines and then won at Pebble Beach with the TP5. That's why he made the switch with the wedges, because he was like,
okay.
with this soft compressing ball with more spin, I'm definitely a little bit more acclimated with in between shots and field shots like that.
It did not pay off for him this week. He looked very sloppy around the greens, to be honest. There's one where he it just dumped it in the bunker, and I was like, "Come on, Rory." I will say I definitely appreciate them in these first handful of weeks of the season. I'm not saying they're listening to us. Clearly, we're one of millions of people talking about golf, but we've been harping on stop making the courses longer, just grow the rough up. We have seen some
Right.
rough. We have seen some rough these last these first handful of weeks of the season. No longer are we seeing this kind of really no transition from first cut to the rough. We are literally seeing balls disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I,
You're gonna see it again at the Players. You're gonna see it at Valspar. You aren't gonna be able to blast it anywhere you want to unless your forearms are strong enough. And a lot of these guys ain't got it like that. So yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited to see the courses fight back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying burn the greens out. We still want receptive greens, but
Yeah.
we've talked about that too, bro. Like your only combatant for low scores can't be fast ass greens. You can't just pump the greens up to 14 and then be like, yo, like good luck. Like
Well, because
that's not that can't be
if
the
there's any
only
bit of
thing.
slope, then it just becomes a funhouse golf situation where you can't
Right.
even hit the ball down a hill without losing it off the green. Uh, like I said,
Exactly. Is it playable? Is it even
yeah,
gonna be playable when it gets that fast and that
because
slopey?
uh, Morikawa on 18 was a perfect example at Bay Hill. He damn near knocked it off the green. Had he put any more into it, it's on the first cut. So
Right.
getting to that point is ridiculous. But if you're driving offline, make people take their medicine, play out sideways, advance it 100 yards down the fairway, and then play for par or bogey. That's the way you can keep these scores competitive. But when people are able to kind of just see the entire ball, them playing out of really low rough is not. They're still able to get a ton of spin on it,
Yep.
and control the ball. So kudos to the PGA Tour for fighting back and making the courses, modern, which is you
Yeah.
need rough. Again, you don't need to make every course 8,000 yards for it to be entertaining and keep the scores out of the 20s every week. So I'm very
Absolutely.
interested. But also on the ball thing, I'm gonna go buy a pack of TP5s and see what they're playing like this year. I'm gonna probably try the X, but it's been a few years. It used to be my ball of choice, until I just realized like quality control a few years ago for TaylorMade balls were really bad.
Yeah.
But hearing a lot of good things about the TP5, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing this year's version of the Pro V1X. It's a really good ball. Um, so I'm interested to see what else is out there. I haven't done a ball switch in a while. I've been enjoying my Max Flies. Their pro version of their ball has been a really good value, and performed very well. But
Yeah. You got to
new
mention the
technology.
tour spot. You got to mention
What's
the Max Flight Tour, the tour part of that. People gonna discount you like you just some type of scrub.
I,
Can't
s-
have that.
I snuck tour in there, which again
Good.
I think people if they gave that ball a shot, if you're buying Kirkland's, spend a few more dollars, get you some Max Fly Tour. They have a soft version, which is not the softest ball. I mean, it's not a Wilson by any
Yeah.
means. They have a regular tour and then a tour X. All really good balls. So try them out if you're looking to ball on the budget. High quality cover that doesn't shred very easily. You get the same distance, very comparable distance to the Pro V1 lineup. I really enjoyed that ball over the last year and
Yeah.
stocked up in the off season when they went on sale. So anyway,
I think you should use the TP5.
versus the X.
Yeah.
Okay.
X is too clicky. Not
Well,
enough spin. You're
we
too
don't
used to
know
playing the X.
we don't know on the new version of the TP5. I don't know.
Yes, we do.
Okay, the TP5X is still clicky.
Yes.
Okay, I'll trust you. Um, this is super random. Just an observation. Watching PGA Tour champions, DP World Tour, and then in the past we saw Matt Fitzpatrick with the cross-handed chipping. So
Mm,
DP World Tour, I saw Sean Norris in the playoff cross-handed chipping. Stuart Cink, your your tall golf idol on the Champions Tour, chipping cross-handed this weekend, actually getting it pretty damn close with that method,
yeah.
and it just got me to thinking, why don't more players, amateurs in particular, gravitate towards using the cross-handed method? It encourages you to use your big muscles to turn because you can't restrict a turn with your left hand leading and actually get the ball somewhere. So it encourages you to turn and kind of relax yourself a little bit. What do you think about that?
I mean, again, people's pride is always going to be on the line here. when you see somebody doing something weird and you're gonna struggle with it at first, they're gonna go back to what they know, what they're comfortable with. But in theory, the cross-handed chip really allows you to have a more consistent bottom of your swing, which is crucial to strike, especially when it comes to chipping and spin and revolutions and as far as landing spots and stuff like that. I mean, in theory, it should be probably well, I wouldn't say used 50-50 or something like that, but it should be a little bit more widespread, I would say. I would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
but you got guys like Matt Fitzpatrick who's won a major
Right.
doing it. Please,
I
that's saying something.
I respect the hell out of Stuart Cink, and if he's like, hey, I mean, he's been a good player
Right.
for a long time. He
Still
bounces back
competes
and
on the
forth.
PGA Tour.
Exactly. I was about to say he bounces back and forth between the champions and the PGA Tour regularly, and competes
Yeah.
on both. And if he's like, it's good enough for me, I think it's good enough for any of us. And I mean,
Right.
it's going to require you some practice. It's the same way that if you started trying to get out of rough with a hybrid or something, to know the
Yeah.
distances, how it feels, you don't want to just pull that out on the course for the first time. But I think with a little bit of work and, an hour a week, 30 minutes a week around your house or something, that could become a really valuable tool and save, I would say, easily 5 or 6 strokes around by
Yeah.
not duffing it or thinning it across a green. I don't know. Like I said, if pros are using it on all levels, what makes you too good for that as an amateur?
Right. Right.
Hell,
These people are playing for millions.
I was almost embarrassed to send it to you, but I saw some dude on IG using the claw method to chip. I was like, bro,
No, I've
um,
seen that, and I can't get past that, bro. No,
that was too
no,
much. That was too much.
yeah, no, absolutely not.
That
You
that
using
seemed a
a
little.
8 iron, yeah, bro. Whatever, man. Just put the hybrid, bro. Like, I think that's another thing that people need to play around with. That was a really good time of golf. Harris English really revolutionized that shit. Just pull out that 3 wood, pull out that 5 wood, get it bouncing a little bit right off the fringe, and let it trickle out like a putt. Bro,
Yeah.
don't like pride, man. Pride.
So let's summarize the 3 tips I think I've dropped that would be benefit amateurs. Grip down or cut your driver shaft down.
Yeah.
Um, chip cross-handed or give it a try. There was one
Yeah.
other one. There was one other one that I'm forgetting, but there's so many things that AMs can do to make this game easier. And I was like, I'm gonna start using some of this stuff. I mean,
Right.
I it just doesn't make
Please.
sense not to. So,
It
well,
doesn't, bro. Be for real.
that's it for our bullet points. I think we had a very efficient show tonight. What
Yeah.
randomness do you want to get into? NBA has, my heart is hurt. We were texting about the Mavs. It's been an atrocious season. I was really hype about. I was really hype about basketball going into the year, and
Yeah,
I'm not.
man.
I'm not feeling it right now. I just do not. I don't have any appetite for NBA currently. I am looking
Yeah.
forward to March Madness jumping off
Right. I'm
next week.
excited about U of H. I'm really excited about how they're trending. Miles Uzan has really turned it up a notch and really helped out the Cougs as far as handling the ball and what they need to be doing as far as that goes. So I'm really excited to see how far they can go, what push they can go, and then the draft class that we have coming in next year is going to be exciting as well for U of H. But yeah, man, we beat we beat the Spurs today. The Mavs did. I don't know how, but we won. But I think that's because Wimby was out. If Wimby was playing, I don't know if we win. I'm gonna just
Of
say that.
course not. Of course not.
I don't think we win. But I mean, other than that, I don't know. Free agency for NFL just started up. We're gonna get the chance to see how incompetent Dallas Cowboys upper management is again. So honestly, I'm not I'm hurt about the Mavs, but I'm at the point with the Cowboys where I can laugh. We're an incompetent team. We're doing a lot of dumb things. I don't think we're gonna ever succeed as much as we should until again we get a change in leadership. But that's neither here or there. I'm fine with being the running joke of the NFL. It is what it is at this point.
No, I think I'm converting my fandom to the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders. I think that's where I'm gonna
Okay.
put my loyalties
All
going
right,
forward.
but
I,
yeah, go Baltimore then if you want to be weird, man. God,
I mean,
God, bro.
it's just delusional to keep cheering for the Cowboys. It's been 30 years, bro. I mean, it's been
Officially,
a
after
full
this season,
almost 75% of my life has been garbage. It's
yeah,
time to move on. I mean, if your marriage was 75% bad, would you stick with it?
no,
No, exactly.
that yeah, I that's why I'm a Ravens fan. Anyways, go Pistons.
Oh Lord.
I'll have you know this. Rod did not believe in the Detroit Pistons. We did a over under on Pistons winning 20 games. He picked the under. I picked the over easily. And Jaden Ivey got hurt, and they're still cooking. They're not even in the play in. They're in the top six. They're in a solidified playoff squad. Kate Cunningham is the real deal. I tried to tell these folks. I tried to tell these folks.
I thought the losing in past years had been too traumatizing, but they were able to figure it out and get enough
Shout
veterans
out
on
to
the team.
JB Biggerstaff, randomly a good coach. I don't know
Yeah,
if he'll ever get him over the fully the hump, but damn it, he gonna put a squad together and they gonna win some games with them.
they're gonna
They
bring back Dwayne Casey to to get him over the
chill
final
out,
hump.
bro. Chill out, bro.
All
Chill
right,
out,
bro.
man.
All right, bro. I think that's a good
Anyways,
show. Next week, reviewing the players. I'm hoping we get some good shoe releases this week. We hadn't done a themed show since I think the Masters last year around shoe
yeah.
releases. Shoe releases have been super trash. I want to say it was like 2 years ago that the players had a lot of good releases. I've only seen the FootJoy Steve Buscemi collab that they do every year so far, and it was actually pretty garbage. It was like a
Did I not
off.
show you? Did I not send you the Nike?
I didn't. No, you didn't send it to me. Maybe not. Oh, you
I'll send
did.
it. I'll
You
send you.
did. You did. The Air Max. It was also garbage. So
Exactly. Bad.
we started
Bad.
off pretty weak on
Oh for 2.
the shoe release front so far. So, but we'll talk about what's out there, and then um you know of course it'll be a good tourney. Do we see three in a row from Scotty?
No,
No chance.
not after the way he played this week.
It can turn around real fast with him, yeah.
And this is in no way discounting Scotty Scheffler, but Scotty Scheffler is a bad MF. But I don't know. I feel like he was too far away in the
Well,
AP.
while I wouldn't put money on it because I'm not that confident in it, I think Scotty is one of these guys where he's a horse for he's good everywhere. The game
Yeah,
travels, but I think there's certain courses that fit his eye. Augusta National being one, TPC Sawgrass being another. I think he's got it figured out. So
yeah. You've talked
top
about this
five,
before.
top five. I'll give him at least
Okay.
top five. Scotty Scheffler top five. Rory top 15. Uh, I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
know past that, brother.
I'm gonna go Xander Schauffele. I don't know.
Okay.
He performed pretty well there last year. I think we can do it again.
Okay.
All right,
All
y'all.
right.
Bearded Bros Golf Show. Back at it again next week on Monday. I am Rod.
And now Marcus.
We'll catch you then.